A high priority issue for many Floridians does not appear to be on the government's radar at all as the 2022 session gets underway. Good evening. I'm Martha Sagowski.
And I'm Greg Wormuth. Housing and rent prices are soaring in Orlando, in Tampa, Jacksonville, and Miami, but we didn't hear a peep about them during the governor's State of the State address. Nick Pampantonis is live in Orlando after asking several people what it will take to get Tallahassee's attention. Nick.
You know, leaders call this the Freedom State, and while few people can afford a condo overlooking Lake Eola like these, the freedom to pick a place or a neighborhood that ticks even half the boxes on your list is slowly being taken away by those rising prices. And leaders say there is one way that you can get politicians to start paying attention to this issue if you care about it, and that is by making some noise.
We will protect the rights of individuals to live their lives free from the yoke of restrictions and mandates.
Governor DeSantis using his State of the State address Tuesday to raise his national profile, laying out a legislative agenda that tackles subjects like critical race theory, election security, and immigration.
Florida should not be made to bear the burden of our federal government's lawless open border policies.
But nowhere in his 2,600-word speech did the governor mention an issue close to the hearts of many Floridians.
You shouldn't be having to have 2 or 3 other people live with you just to be able to make rent.
Central Florida's cost of living skyrocketed in 2021. The average one-bedroom apartment in Orlando costing 38% more. The average house, 20%. It's the same situation or worse in Tampa, Jacksonville, and Miami. University of Central Florida politics professor Aubrey Jewett says the lack of any mention of the topic Tuesday is a bad sign for people hoping Tallahassee jumps in to rescue them.
I don't have my hopes up too high, because what we have seen over the last 20 plus years is that more often than not, the legislature's actually raided the trust fund that was set up just to spend on affordable housing.
The increasing attention on housing is starting to make some waves, unfortunately in Democratic circles that don't control the state's agenda. Little progress has been made since they called for emergency actions last month.
He wants to paint a picture in Florida where everything is perfect, we're the land of the free and no one is struggling, but all it takes is just 5 minutes in my district to see folks living in hotels and motels because they can't afford a place to live.
We emailed the governor's office Monday to see where he stands. His spokeswoman writing back, pointing out that he vetoed legislators' practically annual raid of money meant for affordable housing last year. And this year's budget again puts money towards housing programs. Unfortunately, she blamed the housing issue on inflation, a favorite of the governor's attacks on President Biden, but not the source of the current problem.
Supply and demand dictate everything in sales, including housing.
Jewett says rank and file Republicans could be incentivized to lead on this issue if voters make themselves heard.
I really think we're reaching such crisis proportions that Democrats might be able to make enough noise and persuasively get constituents to contact their legislators that maybe something will be done on this.
So I asked Eskamani what bipartisan solutions could look like, and she said there seems to be some consensus among members of both parties in Tallahassee that they could erase eviction records tied to the pandemic. They could also look at changing the zoning codes throughout the state to encourage taller development in both downtown situations like this, but also a lot of the suburbs that dot the state infill that would increase density. Live in Orlando, Nick Pampantonis, WFTV Tonight.